her life was out of her control. It wasn't as though she loved the job, although in all fairness, she'd enjoyed rummaging about the back rooms at the museum, attempting to bring order out of chaos. It was just that she wasn't finding the old joke about fine arts degrees and, would you like fries with that? Particularly funny these days. Her Uncle Richard and 3 cousins had arrived on Wednesday to help pack up her tiny apartment and haul home the stuff she hadn't sold or handed off to other cousins in the city. The family didn't exactly own things communally, but there were cooking pots still being passed around that predated frozen food. Charlie had stayed with her. They'd spent Wednesday night on an air mattress. She'd handed the keys in Thursday before they'd crammed the last bits and pieces of her life into the back of a borrowed car and left the city. Charlie complaining all the way home about the mode of transport. So today had to be Friday. Friday, April 30th. Which answered that question at least. Dimitri was at school. Charlie could be anywhere. Once again, she'd been left alone. Her fingers plucked at the quilt the aunties had made for her, not needing to remove the pillow to find the square centered with a piece of one of Michael's old shirts. Left alone, just like stupid Michael, with his stupid perfect boyfriend, and his stupid perfect job out in Vancouver had left her alone. Alysha Catherine Gale? Age had not stopped Auntie Jane's voice from carrying clearly up to the 2nd floor. As if Age would dare. If you aren't out of that bed and downstairs in this kitchen in 15 minutes, I will make you sorry you were ever born. No chance Auntie Jane would leave her alone. And an even smaller chance that every word she'd said wasn't to be taken literally. Sometime in the night, Dimitri had sketched a charm on her right calf. He'd probably thought she wouldn't notice it down there, but then he was young and still incredibly indulged. Eyes rolling, she erased it, smiled fondly at the old charm Charlie had retraced on her shoulder, and stepped out of the shower to find Samson, one of the family's 4 border collies, drinking out of the toilet. "Don't tell me you've learned to go around the door," she muttered, grabbing him by the scruff of his neck and hauling him back. She hadn't bothered to stuff the old rusty hook into the equally rusty eye, but the bathroom door was still closed. Tail slapping into her knees, Samson ignored her. Allie made it downstairs with 12.5 seconds to spare, wrapping an elastic band around the end of her hair and tossing the wet braid back over her shoulder. As expected, her mother and Auntie Jane were in the big farmhouse kitchen baking pies, the 2 of them both working at one end of the old rectangular table. Allie paused on the bottom step. Gale girls had sisters. That was a given. There were inevitably 4 or 5 girls in the family to every boy. Her gran, her mother's mother, Auntie Jane's youngest sister, had 3 girls. No boy. That was strange, but not unheard of. Allie had a brother, David. He was 4 years older, and hadn't that set the aunties to talking. Boys were never born first. She had no sisters. He got the Gale that should have been spread out over 6 girls. Auntie Jane had been heard to sniff, her dark eyes watching David. What's he going to do with it? That's the question. This close to ritual, the kitchen should have been full of Gale girls, laughing, talking, making sure the right things went into the pies. Your Aunt Ruth will be over later with Katie and Maria, her mother said, without looking up from the block of shortening she was cutting into the flour. And your Auntie Ruby has just gone down to the cellar for more apples. Senile old bat'll probably forget what she's down there for. Auntie Jane snorted, expertly flipping the rolled pastry onto a pie plate, a move she'd probably made 1,000,000 times. The family was big on pie, and Auntie Jane admitted to being over 80, although she got nasty when people tried to be more specific. A minimum of 80 years, and say a minimum of 100 pies a year. And if you'd hauled your lazy carcass out of bed before noon, she continued, interrupting Allie's attempt at math, there'd have been 4 of us all along. So stop seeing the empty places at the table and get over here. The family's coming home.